Hi guys. Wish you all a very good evening. So, as Rajat has rightly introduced, today we are going to start with a session which is mainly on interviews, and within interviews also. I'm sure you guys must have attended or probably heard a lot about interview skills here and there. But today there is one thing that I'm going to really catch upon, which is kind of a bottleneck for most of the candidates. I don't know how many of us will agree with me, but whoever has attended the interviews up till now, in my experience, in my career, what I have seen, I have trained around more than 7,000 students up till now. And I have seen that majority of the students, the major issue is about answering the introductory question. Tell me something about yourself. Irony is the question is asking about our own self, about us, but still we are kind of nervous about answering it. Do you all agree with me? I won't mind if you could even switch on your audios and answer. That is totally okay with me. Also, if you have any doubts, I mean, there are two ways. You can write your doubts on the chat box, and I can answer the same at the end of the session. And if you feel that you need to ask something then and there, I'm really okay if you're just switching on your audio and asking me the doubt. And I'm sure that's going to help everyone. Okay?
Yes.
All
Okay, ma'am.
right. Great. Okay, so with this positive note, let's start a session on introducing yourself or tell me something about yourself. So you can clearly see the quote I'm attaching it to, and there's a reason for this, which you'll understand very soon. Well begun is half done. Now, generally, when I talk about this question, more than 90% of the interviews start with this question. So you are kind of setting the tone of the entire interview. If you answer the question well, you yourself are going to be in the positive frame of mind throughout the interview. And if you don't answer it well, vice versa. So today we are going to understand one from candidate's perspective and the other from the recruiter's perspective also, that what are they looking forward to when they ask this question. Okay, so this question can be put up in a lot of ways. How would you introduce yourself, or take us through your profile? All right. One more thing. I hope everyone here is comfortable with the language. If you want, then we can deliver the session in Hindi. Is everyone comfortable with English?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right. So the question can be put across in a lot of ways. How would you introduce yourself? Take us through your profile. Tell us more about you. Everything sums up to the same thing: introducing yourself. Now, there's a very interesting fact over here. 33% of hiring managers, they have claimed, and this is a well proven researched data, it is not something from my pocket, that they select or reject a candidate internally within first 90 seconds of an interview. Now, when I say first 90 seconds, it's first 1.5 minutes. So first 1.5 minutes is more or less this question majority of the time, right? It's generally introducing yourself. And this question kind of it decides the result for you for any interview. तो फिर आप मुझे पूछोगे, then ma'am, what is the need for rest of the interview? Why not just stop the interview? And if you have already decided, why take the rest of the interview? So now I am going to tell you something from a recruiter's point of view. If I am a recruiter and if I have really liked your answer, probably I might just, thinking out loud, but I really like this candidate. I think that he can really fit my company or my profile. Now, what happens in the rest of the interview is I I'm going to try to confirm my judgment about you. I'm going to try to look out for more and more positive points out of you. So क्या होगा आगे के इंटरव्यू में? I'm going to just pick up the positives. I might just ignore one or two negatives because my judgment about you is positive. On the other hand, if I'm not satisfied with your answer, and I'm like, no, yaar, I don't think this person can really fit the role, then I might want to again confirm my judgment. So in that case, what will happen is I'm going to try and look out for more and more negatives in the other questions. So yahan pe, what is the whole scenario that is created? The entire interview is set in a particular tone. Either it's a positive tone, I'm looking out for positives, neglecting negatives, or it's a negative tone where I'm picking up more negatives and maybe your positives are neglected, right? So, which is why this question becomes extremely important when it comes to results of interviews. You might feel your interview has gone really nice, but sometimes this might just make or break the whole thing. Now, anyone who has heard about this term elevator pitch? If yes, anyone who would like to share your inputs on what does it mean? Have we heard about the term elevator pitch? No? Okay. Anyone? Or can you just guess? Okay, let me show you a pictorial explanation. Anyone who would like to try to explain what does this mean?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes, please. Yes.
It takes some time to introduce myself. I think that's
Okay, all right. Well,
few seconds. I think
sorry.
few seconds. It takes. I think introduce myself.
Okay, all right. Well attempted. Anyone else who would like to give it a shot? Okay. So elevator pitch basically means, if I have to go with the term, if you are climbing in an elevator, starting in an elevator with someone, if you could impress that person with any of your thought or your idea, or you could crack a deal before you or that person reaches your floor, that's a very short span of time. Or you could create an impression that that person wants to meet you again in detail to discuss. Now, that is a successful elevator pitch. So, basically, in a short span of time, if I can leave a good impression on a person or crack a deal, that is called an elevator pitch. And when I talk about the introductory answer in the interview, it kind of resembles the elevator pitch. You are supposed to create a good impression in the short span of time in the beginning. And what is the ideal time limit? It's close to 1 minute to 2.5 minutes. So your ideal elevator pitch should be in this time limit, 1 to 2.5 minutes. So when you are creating your introductory answer, you should make sure that when you are writing down your answer and when you are practicing the pitch, time yourself and see whether you are falling in this time frame. Now, again, let me share one more experience with you. So generally, I'm sure a lot of you will agree to this. Generally, in the interview, when I'm asked this question, I might not be able to complete my answer most of the times. Because kya hota hai, when you are starting to talk about different points, a recruiter might be suddenly interested in one of your point and they may like, ek minute ruko, tell me more in detail about this. And that's where your answer gets interrupted. and then you get in the different direction of the interview. Yes, do we all agree to this? This might have happened to someone or the other here, I'm very sure कि आपके कोई ना कोई इंटरव्यू एक्सपीरियंस में ये हुआ होगा. Yes. Okay, so now if we know that we might not be able to complete the answer, can you tell me that what should we keep in mind while framing this answer? Because let's say I framed for 2.5 minutes, but I might be just stopped in between in, let's say, 1.5 minutes. So what should you keep in mind according to you while framing the answer? Anyone? How can you not let this put you to disadvantage? Let's say उन्होंने आपको रोक दिया, तो आपको क्या, आप क्या करोगे तो आपको disadvantage नहीं होना चाहिए? Could you think about it? Okay, so I think I'm going to attempt this. I'm going to put my most important and relevant points first. In this answer, what matters the most is the priority of your points. If I have kept all the insignificant points in the beginning and all the important points at the end, it may be possible that you might not get an opportunity to reach to the important points. Okay, so all your important
Because,
points should be given first. Yes, yes, Yuvra. Yes.
because first impression is the best impression, no? That's why we have start with the important points and to attract the interview.
Okay. I didn't get the initial part that you said. Can you
First
repeat?
impression,
Yeah.
first
First,
impression is the best impression. So we
yes,
start with important points and significant points.
yes, absolutely. That's absolutely correct. Your first impression is the best impression, last impression, and that is why this answer is important. And within the answer, also, the priority of points is important. Now, with this, I want you all to note down a task which you should be doing after this session, right? Um, I want you guys to identify the 3, 4, or 5 star points of your profile, the most important, the most attractive points of your profile. Now, those star points can come from a lot of places. It can come from any of your achievements, which can be academic achievements. Let's say you have been a scholar throughout, or you have been a topper throughout. That can be your star point. You have done any specific certification which is very relevant to your field. That can be your star point. You have been offered a PPO in your internship, or you have awarded, you have been awarded or achieved anything at your workplace. That can be your star point. Let's say you have achieved something really great in your extracurriculars, like a national level participation or a winning. That can be your star point. So anything that you feel is, it makes your profile stronger and attractive, you need to identify those such points. They can be 4 or 5 points, and you need to make sure that your answer revolves or forms a story around these points. If I have those points clearly noted in my mind, I will not forget. Because I have come across a lot of students in my experience. They have amazing profile. They have done a lot of things. But then when it comes to interviews, sometimes it happens that when they come out of the interview room, they are like, ma'am, I forgot to mention this point of my profile. I forgot to tell them about this. So this is the worst mistake we can make. If we have done something, achieved something, we have worked hard for it, we cannot afford to not tell that to the interviewer, right? So this exercise is specifically for us to not forget the important points. So I need you all to make a list of those points priority wise and then form a story around those points to frame this answer. So I hope everyone has noted this task down, which you can do post this session. Okay, now moving forward, when I talk about a key to cracking this answer, I feel the key lies in two things. One is relevant content, and another is effective communication. There is a lot of difference between content and relevant content, right? जो काम की चीज है वो बोलना और बस बोलना are two different things, right? So we will now in our session try to understand where does and how do we frame relevant content and what are the important parts of communication that we should take care of while delivering this answer. Okay. So moving ahead, what should your answer broadly cover overall? So first is who you are professionally. So can anyone tell me what all points or from what all areas can we include points to cover your professional introduction? Who you are professionally. Yes? Anyone who would like to give your input? Okay. Guys, it would be great if you could, give your inputs, right or wrong. Do not worry about it. I'm here to correct you. But if you could share your thoughts, you'll learn better and you'll remember better. Okay? And I'm sure this is not very new to you. So you can just give in your inputs freely. Don't worry. Yes? Who you are professionally can include what points of your profile. So I feel it can include your academic background, it can include your work experience background if you have, it can include your internships that you might have, right? What makes you the best fit for the role? What can this include? Yes, very good, Prashant. Yes, what makes you the best fit for this role? So a point like this can include if you have done or pursued any additional certifications. Okay. It can include some strengths. Yes, skills. Very good, Yashi. Some technical or technical skills that you possess or personality strengths that you have. So, for example, there can be students or there can be candidates who are really great at analysis work. Let's say you can read or analyze financial statements really well. There can be students who are great at doing market research. There can be students who are great at doing equity research. There can be students who are great at sales. So if you have any such technical skills, you can mention that with the examples where you have showcased it. If you have done any additional certifications, you can mention that. All those things makes you a better fit for the role. And last is any interesting personal detail. So if you have anything in your personal detail, so for example, if you have any extraordinary extracurricular participation, or if you have any hobby which is very much close to the role or your profession. So for example, if you have a hobby of stock market investing and you are a finance student, you can talk about it, right? If you have any interest versus any interest towards any arts and your field requires you to be creative, you can talk about it. So any interesting personal detail, or if you have any personality strength which could again strengthen your liability to the role, you can talk about it. Okay, so these are the three broad points that your answer should cover. Now, where or what are the different areas from where these points can come? So the areas can be your work experience, your internships or your project details, your achievements. So achievements can be your academic achievements, your extracurricular achievements, your work related achievements, any targets that you have achieved. So you should always, whenever you are trying to talk about your work experience or your internship, try to quantify your description. So if you have achieved target of any number, mention that number. If you have cracked X clients or X deals out of Y deals, mention the number. If your company has seen a growth of Y percentage under your leadership, mention the number, right? So quantifying your achievements makes a huge deal of difference. Okay, academic background, um, extracurriculars, and your hobbies. So this answer can broadly come from these areas of your profile, where it can cover the points on the last slide, the 3 points that we mentioned on the last slide. I hope everyone is with me till here. Any doubts, any questions, please feel free to ask. Okay. I'm not reading everything on the chat within the session, but if you have anything to ask on audio, you can, or else I'll go through the questions on the chat by the end of the session. Okay. Moving ahead. So now what I'm going to do is, I believe that this question is something where it, more than me telling you theoretically, it's more about learning profile wise. So every one of us comes with different profile, different background, right? So I feel this question requires more of practical learning than theoretical learning. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to give you one simple example of a student for whose profile I have tried to frame an answer, just to give you a basic idea. And then I would like to hear your answers where I can correct you right now. And, I can suggest you the changes where you are good, where you can improve, what you can add, what you can remove, etc. And I'm sure all those who will voluntarily participate will definitely benefit, because I'm going to help you frame your answer better here and itself. Okay. So before doing that exercise, I would like to give you an example of an answer to show you the framework, and then we can go ahead with your live examples. Okay. So I had a student named Dhruval. So I'm just going to take you through his LinkedIn profile, not to test his LinkedIn, but to just see his profile, that what has been his work experience, from what field he comes from. So he's basically a finance graduate. So I'll show his profile. Once you have an idea, I'll show the answer which suits his profile. Okay. So let me just take you to this profile first. I hope everybody can see the screen.
Yes.
Okay, great. So he is currently a senior manager at Keiretsu, and he's a finance graduate. So if you see, he has been working into private equity, fundraising, mergers and acquisitions, valuations, etc., coming from a finance background. He has his grip over different required softwares. He says that he has had an impeccable track record of delivering performances, deadline intensive environment, problem solving skills. Okay, This is a LinkedIn introduction, of course. Um, Talking about his work experience history. So if I start from the beginning, he started as a junior staff accountant in 2014, where he used to do basic taxation and statements, consolidated reports. Then he started working as an assistant accountant for responsible for business development, preparing statutory accounts, tax returns, etc. Then he started working as a financial analyst. So that's just a career trajectory that there is there. Then as a intern at ENY, and then working as a manager at Hem Securities and a senior manager at Kiretsu. So this is just his basic profile that we have. Now, depending on this profile, apart from work experience, if you see, he has had a lot of finance related certifications into investment banking, modeling, equity research, etc. And certifications, after certifications, these are few extracurriculars, not very much, but social initiatives that he has taken part in. Now, if I just go through his profile, what are the highlights of his profile? So, of course, first thing is his work experience journey, which starts from ground level to a subject matter expert, his certifications, and his social initiatives. Now, let's see an appropriate answer for this. So, this was the answer I kind of could frame best for him. Now, if you go through the important parts of this answer, just follow with me. So I am Dhruval Muni, coming from financial capital of our country, Mumbai. So this is again a different way of defining Mumbai, just by instead of saying Mumbai coming from a financial capital. I'm a certified investment banking professional with expertise in areas like M&A or private equity valuation. So again, not getting into a lot of detail, but giving a broad idea about the areas you have worked in. I was fortunate enough to have started my career journey with the role of accountant post BCom. So here he has given an idea of his graduation also, where he got his basics strong on accounts, taxation, etc. Then I joined Global M&A as financial analyst, where I was involved in analysis and valuation of more than 20 companies. So again, quantifying it. Being a part of capital and money market research. And then to have a formal training, I went on to do a management degree in finance and a certification courses on different fields. During my MBA, I got to do internship in one of the big four consulting firms. Again, that's how it creates impact. Big four consulting firms, ENY, and I was offered a PPO. So that's one of the good achievements you are talking about. I have a track record of analyzing 320 M&A schemes. Okay, so this is about his work, and his work was the highlight. Basically, he didn't have anything else in profile except work, which is why his majority of the answer covers work. Apart from work, I like to indulge in social welfare activities. I volunteered in cleanup drive and Asia's largest marathon, etc. So basically, I have again prioritized the most important points first and the hobbies and the extracurriculars down. So it started from the name, the city, the field you come from. It can also cover your academic background. And if you have work experience, at least talking in 2 lines about your work experience. You don't need to go in a lot of detail when it comes to this answer. But if you have any significant achievement, or at least the field of your work experience. So I have been into social media marketing, or I have been into equity research, something like that. Internships, certifications, extracurriculars, and that's how it goes.